This is Carter Colby for the Mercury, and here's a recap of last week's top stories. The Cannon Nelson joined SV Bruns split their first two playoff games against the Battlefield North Stars before losing Game 3 back in SV on Monday night. The Bruins came back from a 2-0 deficit in Game 1. 2 scored, 3 unanswered, but heading into the third period of Game 2 under the same circumstances couldn't come back a second time. SV dropped a 5-4 decision in Game 3 on Monday to go down 2-1 in the series. Game 4 is tonight at Affinity Place. February went out with a literal bang in SV when 2 empty grain rail cars derailed on the west side of the city. While there are no injuries, spills, or damage beyond that done to the cars and tracks, the incident marks the second derailment in SV in the last year, following the derailment of crude-carrying tanker cars last May. Emergency crews were on the scene from the time of the incident at about 9:40 p.m. to the end of the night's cleanup effort around 2 a.m. CP Police is leading the investigation to the incident to determine what happened. In the first of a monthly series looking back at stories from SVAN's past, Norm Park wrote a research piece based on Mercury files from the 1960s and 70s that focuses on the birth of the SVAN Comprehensive School and teacher disputes with the boards of education, framed by disciplinary action taken against a teacher who struck a student. Read it all in the pages of the Mercury. One of the biggest threats to Saskatchewan waterways is the introduction of zebra mussels, and the Upper Sewers watershed is expanding a monitoring program to identify if an infestation begins in one of the local reservoirs. Watershed Coordinator David Pattison said a mussel infestation in Boundary Dam Reservoir would be a worst-case scenario, as zebra mussels can cause millions of dollars in damage to infrastructure. The watershed will be installing samplers in local reservoirs to see if the mussels are ever introduced to the area. Saskatchewan country artist Blake Berglund is returning to SV this Friday to perform at the SV Art Gallery and Museum. In an interview, Berglund said he will be performing some new material with members from his band The Vultures during the concert. Berglund last appeared in SV performing at the Art Gallery with Bella Plain a year ago. Those were the top stories last week. Visit www.svmercury.ca to keep up to date and visit us on Facebook for breaking news and contests.